Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, by Shem Raka Kudash Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video. I'm going to start it off with Micah chapter 2 verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sore destruction. And this is speaking to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true children of Israel. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is telling you to arise and depart spiritually from Babylon the Great, which is the biblical name for the United States of America. America was never meant to be a land of milk and honey for you Israelites. It was only ever meant to serve as a place of hardcore bondage, slavery, and punishment for us going off from the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. That's why up until this very day, Jake can't find a break here. Whether it be you being the last hired and first fired from these jobs, not being able to easily get bank loans for your businesses, being racially profiled and followed around at these stores you shop at by the owners and security, making up a disproportionate amount of the population in these prisons, or being shot down dead by these cops, as well as these cops planting drugs on you to justify arresting you. The list goes on and on. But yet 2/3 of you hard-headed Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans refuse to accept these facts. You think that just because you can work at the same jobs as these Edomites or so-called white people, vote, or go to the same stores that they do, or drink at the same bars that they do, that you're just one of the boys. Especially you northern tribes, or so-called Latinos and Native Americans. Y'all have got your heads so far up your ass you can be your own ventriloquists. You think that just because you've got a lighter complexion, a thinner nose, and straight hair, that you're good to go. But as we get closer and closer to Jacob's trouble really popping off, you northern tribes are learning that in the eyes of these Edomites, you're nothing more than just another nigger, another useless eater in this country. And Donald Trump has only exacerbated that sentiment that these Edomites have towards you. He calls you rapists, drug dealers, and criminals. And then just look at these ICE detention centers where a lot of you Jakes that came across the border are at. You're living in subhuman conditions, and your families are getting broken apart, and your children are getting sent to God knows where, more often than not, to child sex trafficking. And all this is going to culminate in a race war between these Edomites and you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And I brought up this example before, but I had a friend who was northern tribes and said that if a race war ever broke out in this country, that so-called white people and so-called Latinos were going to team up. Well, you're sadly mistaken. The exact opposite's going to happen. And if you or these other Israelites out here don't come back to your power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, you're going to learn the hard way by that death by pain. But in this video, I'm going to be profiling an article from activistpost.com titled Innocent Mom Speaks Out After She Was Kidnapped, Interrogated for Speaking Spanish, just to further show that this place is not the rest of you Israelites. You've had a border patrol, and this isn't just a isolated incident. You've had other examples of border patrol agents, whether in uniform or undercover, following around you so-called Latinos in these stores because they hear you speaking Spanish and questioning you to see whether you're illegal or not. And hey, I don't feel bad for you 2/3 getting this treatment, because we've been out there on the highways and byways for the longest time trying to wake you up, but still you refuse to hearken unto your power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and you scoff at his prophets. Havre MT, Anna Suda, and Martha Mimi Hernandez are both U.S.-born citizens who grew up in Texas and California respectively, but their lifelong citizenship and complete lack of criminal record would have no bearing on a U.S. Border Patrol agent hell-bent on taking dangerous Spanish-speaking women off the streets of Havre, Montana. Since that fateful day on which these women were detained for speaking Spanish, Suda says her life has become a nightmare. As TFTP reported at the time, the incident happened on May 18, 2018, as Suda and Hernandez stood in line at a local grocery store. The two ladies were having a friendly conversation in Spanish, an entirely legal and common activity which takes place in most grocery stores every day in this country. And even this has got these Edomites riled up. You can find plenty of videos on the internet of Edomites confronting you so-called Latinos at these stores, telling you to go back to your country or speak English. However, the Border Patrol agent in line behind them saw their conversation as nefarious. He just knew they were evil criminal scum. That's the sentiment again that these Edomites have towards you Israelites. You're rapists, your murderers, your drug dealers, etc., etc. As the two innocent U.S. citizens checked out at the register, this hero public servant demanded to know where they were born. Remember, they had done nothing wrong and were simply speaking Spanish. Still, Suda and Hernandez complied and told the officer they were born in Texas and California, but he did not believe them. Salakia. The agent then demanded the two women hand over their driver's licenses, which were apparently not enough to get them immediately on their way. The two U.S. citizens were then held against their will, otherwise known as kidnapping, by U.S. Border Patrol agents who completely humiliated them in front of their friends and neighbors. And if you Israelites understood these scriptures, this type of behavior wouldn't be out of the norm to you. It would be expected from these Edomites. This is Lamentations chapter 4. I'm going to read verse 17 through 19. As for us, you Israelites, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. These Edomites are so-called white people. You Jakes honestly believe that since some Edomites held hands with you during the civil rights movement, or that you have good Edomite friends, an Edomite boyfriend or girlfriend, or an Edomite husband or wife, or that you're on good terms with your Edomite boss and co-workers, that they're your friends and have your back. You Jakes have truly become drunk off this American dream and think that if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and are at peace with these Edomites, that they'll accept you and see you as just another American citizen, which is clearly not the case. You have always and will always be looked at as 2/3 of a human being in this country by these Edomites. There will never be peace. Just look at our history. It's been nothing but rape, robbery, and murder. These Edomites are the true criminals, drug dealers, and rapists. Verse 18, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. These cops patrolling your neighborhoods, following you while you walk on the sidewalk, or follow you while you're driving around to see if they can catch you up in anything. Or just look at this article. These two so-called Latino women were profiled by that Border Patrol agent for speaking Spanish and were detained so he could see if they were illegal immigrants or were legal citizens. And of course, we can't forget Trayvon Martin. He was literally hunted by George Zimmerman, who put him to death. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of heaven. Again, speaking of these Edomites, the eagle is the symbol of Edom. Just look at ancient Rome, Nazi Germany, and the United States of America. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. Wherever you Jakes dwell in America or anywhere in the vicinity of these Edomites are always going to be looking for a reason to come after you. After Mimi and I told the officer that we were born in the U.S., Suda explained, he demanded that we show identification. I didn't feel like I could say no since he was in uniform and armed. We gave him our Montana's driver's licenses and then followed him outside into the store's parking lot as directed. During their illegal detainment, Suda and Hernandez were interrogated as if they were criminals. The scene is something akin to the era of Papers, Please, as these entirely innocent women were temporarily kidnapped and forced to prove they weren't illegal human beings who should be shipped off to some camp. They hunt our steps that we're not safe in our streets. Had they been illegal, the stop was still unconstitutional, as speaking Spanish is most assuredly not probable cause for detainment. Even if a person speaks no English at all, the state cannot detain them for it. But you Israelites are looked at as nothing more than 2/3 of a human being by these Edomites. Nevertheless, this tyrant agent had no problem telling the women why he had taken them into custody. When Suda and Hernandez asked him why they were being humiliated and interrogated, the officer responded with brutal honesty. Suda explained that Agent O'Neill, the name on his badge, got on his car radio and asked for backup, as if two moms holding a carton of eggs were a threat. As we stood there, I felt a knot in the pit of my stomach. I told him that I was going to start filming on my cell phone. Then I made a simple request. Can you tell us in video why you asked for our IDs, please? He said it was because you guys are speaking Spanish, which is very unheard of up here, said Suda. For nearly an hour, Suda and Hernandez were held captive as other armed agents showed up in their uniforms and carrying guns to investigate two American soccer moms, a shameful act indeed. Now Suda is speaking out. In an interview with BBC, Suda says she and her family have faced constant harassment over the video of her rights-violating incident. She was forced to move, and her family is now separated. Hey, just another day in Babylon the Great. Arise and depart, for this is not your rest. I'm going to play this video real quick to show how this Israelite is completely oblivious to the situation she's in, as are the majority of you Edomites. And you'll also see that this so-called Latina woman is just another bedwench because her husband is an Edomite and she has little tear Edomite children. So, in all honesty, you got exactly what you deserved. And really, later on in this clip, it says that she moved back to El Paso with her family. The Most High may be having mercy on you because when these race wars pop off, and if you were still in Montana, you definitely get that work from these Edomites.
Oh, I was just speaking Spanish.
Ma'am, the reason I asked you for your ID is because I came in here and I saw that you guys are speaking Spanish.
He destroyed all my dreams I had.
20 miles north.
This video from May of 2018 was viewed millions of times.
He destroyed all my dreams I have. Back in Lamentations 4:17. As for us, our eyes, our dreams, as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Times on social media.
Anna Suda and her friend, both of them U.S.-born citizens, sued Customs and Border Protection, alleging discrimination.
What Anna didn't expect was that her life would change drastically after the incident.
Well, we were in a gas station.
So we just come here to the store to buy milk and eggs. And this border patrol, he just asked for ID.
So I was like, why, you know?
Because we have an accent and we speak Spanish.
So that is not a reason. To me, it's not a reason.
So it is illegal to speak Spanish in Montana?
No, ma'am, it's not illegal. It's just very unheard of.
Really? Well, I was very confused. I can't believe that this was happening to me, you know. My husband is from Montana.
I never would have imagined something like this would happen. It certainly wouldn't happen anywhere on the southern border like this, but I never imagined it would happen in Montana either. Yeah, we're in the same shirt.
The family moved to Montana in 2014.
Before this happened, that the people were so nice of me. They were curious of me, you know. They come and ask me where I was from, and I didn't take it bad because it's more like a curious, you know, curiosity, not like in a bad way, like now.
It's been difficult for all of us. You know, I work for the same agency as Border Patrol. There's
Definitely a bedwench. She's married an Edomite that worked in a similar agency to the Border Patrol.
been some discomfort within the job. My wife, she's been harassed within the community. and my children too. It's been difficult for all of us, the whole family.
Yes, we stopped speaking for a little bit, but after a while, oh, we need to be strong and we need to do stuff. We need to let people know that they can speak Spanish. And I need to do this because of my daughter. You know, I need to prove her like we are fine. We are good people. We are not doing anything wrong.
But you're under the curses, which you can't escape unless you come back to your power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. No matter where you Israelites go, your life is going to hang in the balance because these curses are upon you. We're in the valley of the shadow of death. Just going outside to go to your job or have a good time could be the last thing you ever do. You could get in a car wreck, get in a fight with somebody which leaves you dead, be arrested by these cops, get shot down by these cops, or get detained for speaking Spanish at a grocery store. And you're not safe in your homes either. You could get in a fight with your significant other and they could call the cops, and the cops could come and arrest you or put you down, or a burglar could break into your house and put that work to you. And also a couple of years ago, there was an incident where SWAT went to the wrong house and threw a flashbang in the house, and it blew up in the face of this little so-called Latino girl who was sleeping on the couch. We're living in deadly serious times, Israel, and the Most High is losing patience. He's about to drop that hammer on you hard-headed Israelites who refuse to come back to your power.
Yo me vine sin nada, Yo agarré mi troca, agarré ropa y me vine.
Anna says the racial harassment she received at public places and social media from people who saw the video became too much for her to handle. She moved to her hometown in El Paso with her children 3 months ago.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out, and cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in. That's pretty much it with this article. You get the point. But as I said at the beginning of the video, all these tensions are going to culminate into a vicious and violent race war. And during that time, for you Israelites that still refuse to see that these Edomites are your enemy, you're going to get caught up in it, and you're going to get put to death, and your loved ones are going to get put to death unmercifully. This is Isaiah chapter 13. I'm going to read verse 14 through 16. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. When these race wars break out, people are going to become tribal and return to their own people and fight for their own and their own best interests. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. You Israelites, especially that so-called black and Latino woman who are found with your heathen boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, or tear children in that day, shall be thrust through with that sword. And it's also going to apply to you other heathen nations as well. If you're caught with another heathen or with an Israelite, you're going to get that work as well. Verse 16, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. No mercy for anybody. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of Esau Edoms. And as always, I'm going to say Abba Bal, Kwam Yasharala. Till next time, Shalom.